Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football. The podcast is now on episode number something. I think we're near 73, is it? We're near the big 75, you know. 75th anniversary.
Near the big 100. It's taken us like 18 months to do 100 podcasts.
Can't wait for that letter for the Queen, boys.
Do you know what it is? Well, we can wait. But do you know what I've noticed?
Who's our favourite, do you think?
Who's our favourite?
Wee Jack.
Well, it's no Andrew anyway.
Aye, maybe Jack.
No, I meant
McGinley, I think he's a closet.
Really?
Closet royal supporter.
Closet royal
Yeah,
supporter?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Controversial take, but yeah.
If she's certainly at Partick this Saturday, it's certainly not me. Joking.
Well, I seen Davey actually at the Rangers Dunfermline game joining in some of the chants. So,
funnily enough,
maybe you.
When the fourth goal went in, we were just going mental. It was quite funny.
We'll see when it got to the fifth goal. Sorry to just jump right into this, but it got to the penalty. Were you away by that point? I seen that you said you were away at the pub. Mate, I went to the toilet and I looked at my phone. I don't get a signal where I sit, and somebody was like, Graham Dorrans, talk about Graham Dorrans in the group chat.
Best performance for Rangers.
Mate, I didn't know that he was playing.
No, it was honestly the best I've seen him play for Rangers.
Aye, I didn't realise he was playing, mate. But I seen you right from the beginning. I seen you, But there was people standing in front of me, so I was kept trying to get your attention so I could give you one of these.
I got that off a few.
I was actually going to walk down and go like that, and then wait for him to maybe go like that back, and then go like that.
Did you talking about that? Did you see the wee boy on Sky Sports on Friday night? It was brilliant. No, I'm talking about before the game. They were like panning all the Brentford fans and all the rest of it, and there was this wee boy, and it was the camera was zooming in like, oh, it's good to see the Wayne's back at the game. He's sitting there, and then he goes like, yeah. He's just sitting his like, oh, and then they pan away from him.
That's it. But I thought you were going to go with the wee lad that
after the
Brentford
game
manager went up to. That was unbelievable.
Very, very nice. Should we just quickly dissect Friday then before we fucking
let's do it.
We're dissecting Friday.
Aye, we might as well.
Well, first of all, we've not done one thing, and that's a big shout out to G4 Claims.
Yes,
thanks very much for having us as we get right back into the cup action here on Talk Scottish Football.
They're just flying, G4 Claims.
They are flying.
They're everywhere. Have you noticed that?
I was thinking this, and I don't know if it's just because now we're sponsored for them, but I feel like I'm seeing them absolutely everywhere now.
They're at Partick.
It's a verticular cortex, isn't it?
What the fuck is that?
Somebody fact check me and I've probably got it wrong, but I'm in the ballpark. It's when you see something, let's say you get a new motor or a new pair of shoes or whatever, and then you just see it everywhere.
Funnily enough,
advertising, baby.
Funnily enough, that happened to my dad. My dad got a Chevrolet back in 2009. Never seen a Chevrolet here, I swear in my life, till my dad got one, and I seen them, every 5 minutes. Seen a Chevrolet.
That's it, mate. That's it.
So that's Dunfermline Rangers covered. So
it's funny though. Before we quickly again, this is the first time us three have sat down and done a show in
just thinking
a long time.
Just the three of us.
We can make it if we try.
€3.
It might have been, aye. It might have been
couple of months.
It was when we were doing 2 shows a week and people weren't getting
somebody
on their backs.
Somebody commented last night we've got the worst upload schedule on YouTube. I think we've got the best because we're so consistent.
I had to reply back to that. I'm like, mate, most podcasts only upload once a week.
We're unbelievably consistent just now.
Yeah, we're doing alright. But I would love to do 2 shows, but it's just time, lads.
I know we're 3 hard-working men. Well, we're 2 hard-working men and him. So yeah,
I've got to be in Nine's back here. He's relentless with the videos. Do you know what I mean? To be fair to him, although they're easy for him.
Look at the.
He doesn't even do like takes. It's just a one take every video.
Aye.
Excuse me. Have you watched me ranking?
I haven't watched any of your videos this year. I don't think so.
That's nice. Thank you very much.
Shut up with my phone.
Is that you?
Aye. Turn that off. Out of order.
Is that the Queen phoning?
It is actually. All right, let's in.
Right. Let's go into it. Dunfermline went to Ibrox on Friday night. David. It was the derby of Davids. It was a game that we were all enthralled for because was there a chance? No, of course not. I'm joking. But I mean, David, we'll start with you.
Well, before I don't want to talk about the game just yet, but just the reaction to it. So I spent all week telling everyone that we were going to get absolutely pumped. All week telling everyone it would be 3-0 in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Both things came true. And I had Rangers fans all week going, oh no, it's not, we're pissed. Then at full time they go, hey, get it up here. And I'm like, boys, I fucking told you this was going to happen. We were absolutely embarrassingly bad.
Woeful. Bad, eh?
Woeful.
I was expecting something.
Who plays 3 up top against Rangers at Ibrox?
I know. Who was it? Craig Whiting and
Kevin O'Hara and Nikolai Todorov.
Todorov as well.
They played 3 up front and 2 in midfield. Away at Rangers.
I don't know what they were
when
doing.
You've just been spanked 3-0 off Partick Thistle.
Yeah.
It was just idiotic.
When I seen
it
became 4-0, it was 4-0 at half time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When I seen it, the fourth went in, I genuinely thought it was going to be about 10-0. I thought it was going to hit double digits.
I think Rangers were in that kind of mood as well, where they were like relentless, especially in the first half.
I mean,
you never seen the second half.
I didn't see much of the second half. But from what I gather, we were a lot better in terms of organisation second half. But the fact that it took us, we went 4-0 down, we went 4-5-1, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Exactly. You
don't start that way.
Yeah, you don't give yourself a chance, do you, when you go go that attacking? I mean, it's brave, Peter Grant, but at the end of the day, you end up 4-0 down in no time. And
my question is, and we'll come on to Rangers, of course, because we've got to talk about Rangers and the aspect of, coming back from a couple of losses in the bounce and getting a little bit of confidence back in their game. But in terms of Dunfermline, David, last week you were absolutely battered off a Partick Thistle. So I don't know, we've spoke about this briefly in the flat, but where is Peter Grant thinking? Where's he going with that? He's watched him be beaten by the third or fourth best team in Glasgow, and then against the Scottish champions.
I thought you were talking about Rangers there for a second.
And then against the Scottish champions, he decides to do that. Where is the line of thinking going there?
Don't know. Don't know. Do not know.
It's just Peter Grant's sexy football.
Yeah, well, it is sexy football because him and Charge Pars get fucked every week. It's class.
It's sexy for the opposition fans.
Yeah, absolutely. No, none of it makes any sense. I mean, Graham Dorrans is obviously he's had 2 ways he could approach the Graham Dorrans things. He obviously comes in. He could have kept him at the team for 3 weeks and put him through a pretty intense mini pre-season. He tried to play with fitness. He then plays him in a midfield 2 at Ibrox with Dan Pybus, who's not started a game yet. They just overrun. I mean, Thistle were exploiting our wing backs. So then you play wing backs again against Rangers when you've got, I mean, no matter which 2 of the 4 it was going to be, they were going to have an absolute field day. A lot of people are raving about Calvin Bassey. He will not have an easier game this season. No. It was a piece of piss for the big guy. The defence is just hopeless just now. I do not know what he was thinking. He's obviously trying to be positive and have a go. And see, to be fair to him, there was a couple of times in the first half where there was openings and we just did the wrong thing. And I was like, right, if we just play the right pass here, we could be in, but we're already 2-0 down by that point.
In the first 5 minutes or so, you had a couple of attacks.
Well, actually, that's what I said to somebody. Apart from the first goal, we actually started the game quite well.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no use in that if you're a goal down already, and Rangers just coasted it at that point.
Yeah, I was so surprised at the atmosphere to a certain extent because after Malmo, I was expecting it not to be.
It wasn't bad.
The way it was, it was over 40,000 were there, and it was a decent atmosphere, man. It really was, and thoroughly enjoyed it, man. I was actually raging because I'm on the continuous credit card scheme. I paid 29 quid for the Malmo ticket, and then it's another 20 quid for the Dunfermline game, and then the Europa League playoff was in the following day payment, another 29 quid. So on Friday, I'm like, fucking raging, man, this and that, all the money.
80 quid.
Exactly, down 80 quid, and I took my wee brother, my wee cousin to games, that was another 20 odd quid. So I was raging, but when I got to the Dunfermline game, I actually enjoyed myself, man. I thought it was a good atmosphere and it picked us up, defo. So, you'll be glad of that. The people watching that wanted to see me raging probably weren't there. But
well, there was never going to be the chance of you being raging.
It
was more just the atmosphere in that. I loved it.
This is the thing. Last thing on Dunfermline for me. This thing that pisses me off the most. If you could have got through the first 20-25 minutes against Rangers, you could have annoyed that crowd. If the Rangers were struggling to break them down, and if you just sat in, the crowd would have got agitated. Whereas it was party day from 2 minutes in. Lundstrom smashing his first goal, Roof scoring, everyone's flying. It's just
just on Calvin Bassey about him having the easiest game of the season. Probably you're probably right, but I think most of the plaudits came for his delivery because in the Livingston game he was really good. But it was that delivery that kind of let him down.
Can I ask a question? I've seen a lot of people on Twitter after the game talking about Bassey and saying he needs to keep his place. And she was starting over Barisic. Would you agree, or is that a bit of an overreaction as he plays against Dunfermline?
No, I think it's context. For me, he should start on Thursday. I'd start
against Livy as well, didn't he?
He started against Livy. The reason being, Ryan, is Barisic isn't at full speed, in my opinion.
Right.
He's not had a full pre-season under his belt. He was injured during the Euros. He only came on against Scotland for 10 minutes or so. And then he obviously had these 2 weeks off that every player was granted. So he's came back into a pre-season. Calvin Bassey's obviously been there for the start of pre-season. And he's just flying at the moment, and he's giving you energy. He's good, solid defensively. And if he's able to put in performances like that and his end product is very good, then he should probably start against Barisic. Over Barisic at the moment.
Fair enough.
There's no doubting that Barisic is number one there. But it's just one of the things, getting back to full speed and then kind of ease him back into the starting 11, in my opinion.
I just couldn't tell if it was one of those, as a Celtic fan, I can admit that a lot of fans get guilty over after one performance, and like, oh, boy, this, that, next thing. So, it was just to clarify, asking from an actual neutral point of view.
Gerrard made a mistake, and I don't know if he would admit that. I don't think he should have started Barisic against United, and subsequently probably against Malmo as well. But I think he did with Barisic what he had to do. He obviously played with Morelos against United when he was 50% fit, and he was still Rangers' best player. But you have to play Morelos to fitness. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to do that with Barisic, because the drop off from Barisic to Bassey in that kind of game, I don't think's that big.
Yeah.
So I think you could have got away with it, but it is what it is now. There will be games he'll come back in once he's got a bit of sharpness. But I think the best thing for Rangers probably was Roof. I think that was probably the big positive.
So he was going to get a hat trick.
He was very good. And I think the thing is, we've forgotten how good he was last year at times. There was a big conversation up until about the halfway point of the season about who was the main man up front for Rangers. Morelos came into form, but he's going to be a massive player, and the fact that he's back fit and firing is going to be.
Aye, he's a great finisher, Roof, and he's so hungry to score goals, and you could tell it. Even after the week he'd went through, it meant a lot to him to score that goal. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Even though I think it was the third goal, the game was done. He really, really celebrated it, and it was a lovely goal. So it was good to see him back and firing for Rangers. To be fair,
Firewater was fantastic. I was in there before full time. It was superb. I didn't know. I actually thought it was 6-0 until about 12 p.m. on Sunday.
So you're celebrating?
When somebody told me it was 6, but
you were out celebrating the Pars famous cup exit. The question is, before we move on to the next game, from both teams' point of view, where did Dunfermline go next? How important is it you win on Friday night?
Have to win on Friday night. Absolutely have to win.
Is the pressure on?
If Peter Gant gets beaten Friday night, he is on a sugary peg already.
Sugary peg.
Not maybe, I don't even think with the board, but with the supporters, the majority of supporters, he'll be done, I think, already. Well, and I mean done with a lot of supporters.
Am I right in saying that he wasn't the German owner's pick as well?
No, he was the German owner's pick.
Right. Because there was people saying that he wasn't.
So this is the problem.
Things I was listening to. So
there was no interview. This is very much Celtic 2019. There was no interview process done.
It was in the showers.
They picked their man and they went and got him.
They went into the Alloa showers,
which was all fine 2 weeks ago when we started well and we looked okay. But now we are going into a Fife derby where we got done 5-1 away from home last year and beating the playoffs. If we don't win that, we could potentially be 8 points off the top after 3 games.
Looking like relegation.
And you're then on the wage then what comes up is, right, you've appointed a guy who won 5 games last season and got relegated. Then everything just gets spun. We also don't have a club captain yet, which is interesting.
Yeah. And then on the Rangers' point of view,
I could honestly go on for hours about this, but it is not good for
this is
that's why we need a lull.
Coming back soon, Pars talk from David Buick.
Couldn't think anything worse just now.
You like talking about Pars?
No.
I'd love to just pass it back at you then, because that'd have been your first time seeing Rangers, yeah?
Yes.
And like the new, like, for last season.
I'll be perfectly honest though, I didn't see much of the game. I have to be honest, I did not see. I was
too busy shouting and balling, but limited that you did see through your bloody vision.
It's just a perfect night for Rangers.
Who was kind of the guy that stood out to you?
Roof and Bassey for me. Yeah. I also thought Patterson was just a class above. He's just phenomenal. And again though, and I said about Bassey having the easiest game of his season, and that's something I said about Celtic when they played Dundee. You can only play what's in front of you, and they both did that brilliantly. I genuinely thought that, you always think Rangers fullbacks are the two that are really, really going to hurt you, but you wouldn't have noticed that it wasn't Tavernier or Barisic. I think the quality was still there, and that's encouraging.
Right, okay, we'll move on.
From a Scotland point of view, more than anything.
We'll go into the Saturday games now. We may as well get the 2 big hitters out the way. We'll talk about Celtic, a 3-2 win against Hearts. I know you want to rant and rave about Tom Rogic.
Best player in Scotland, mate. I've said it for years.
He loves him.
Come on, no Stephen Davis slander.
Well, that's why
today.
This is the thing. My 2 favourite players, favourite Rangers player, Stephen Davis. Favourite Celtic player, Tom Rogic.
Celtic 3, Hearts 2. I'm buzzing. I'm just, we keep rolling.
How do we get Kyogo in the title this week?
I know, how did he score, didn't he?
SPFL threw it right in there.
Kyogo beats Gordon, that's our title. Look, Craig, talking about Gordon saved Hearts from an absolute hammering at the weekend.
All I saw him get post-match was slander, considering he made a number of
could have been 6, 7, 8-0 if it wasn't for Gordon's saves at the weekend. But in typical Craig Gordon fashion, David, he does all that hard work, and then Kyogo's goal. I mean, come on, you've got.
I've never once said he's perfect. I just said he's better than Bain and Barkas.
Yeah, he is better than Bain and Barkas.
Well, that's not better
than Barkas. But let's cut it to the chase.
Possibly Joe Hart.
Nah, well, we'll see. But no, in terms of Celtic's performance, that first 45 minutes is potentially the best football I've ever seen at Celtic Park.
If it was a boxing match,
the
towel would have been
genuinely. It honestly could be that first 45 minutes.
Stats.
Did you see the stats at half time?
I know 18% possession. Celtic had
21 shots at half time, 22 shots, 82% possession.
Okay, no.
And it was just mouth watering. It was. You would have your seat every 2 minutes. It was.
If that was a boxing match, it was done. The towel was thrown in.
It was honestly one of the best 45 minutes, and this is including. But you're right, son. That's including the Brendan Rodgers football.
That's madness.
It was unbelievably good.
I've got my eyes on you.
I only caught the second half, and then I said in the group chat I was surprised. I looked at the stats after. It was 35 shots to like 5.
It was a silly 2 goals Celtic conceded. The penalty, very silly for Carl Starfelt. He gives away a
clear as lines.
Yep, he has, and then he kind of kicks out at Boyce.
No, he goes to kick the ball and misses the ball.
I know,
Boyce gets it first. It's simple.
I know, but it just looks like he,
it's because he takes the touch when he just needs to clean it first time,
and then
he doesn't see Boyce coming from his blind side. Goes to kick the ball. Boyce gets the ball, kicks Boyce.
Then the second goal was poor to give away as well.
Bit scrappy.
Worrying on that side of things, but look, listen, if we keep attacking games like that, we can outscore anybody. So right now, happy with the direction it's going. Celtic are looking more and more confident every week. Players are returning back to form that we never thought we'd see again, like Tom Rogic.
He's so good.
Just on that then, I was going to mention Yanis Hadji a wee bit in obviously the last one, right? So Rangers majority of the time play like more of a workman-like midfield.
Yeah.
I've noticed yesterday Celtic played Tom Rogic, David Turnbull, and then Cal McGregor being behind that, the anchor to kind of control the game and such. Tom Rogic and David Turnbull, would consider more attacking minded players, so a very attacking minded kind of midfield is something that I'd maybe like to see Rangers adopt a wee bit more. But I'd love to get your point of view on that, Ryan, and how you see that going forward, going into the big games. Is that something that's going to stick, or is that something you maybe change and you bring in somebody that's a wee bit more workmanlike and you stick with one?
We've played that now 3 games in a row, and in the space of that 3 games, we've scored 6, 9, 12 goals. 12 goals in 3 games with that midfield 3. It's marvellous. It's amazing to watch, and it clearly shows the philosophy of Ange Postecoglou. He wants to entertain, he wants to score goals. That's what he said the minute he came in the door. That's the football he wants to play. And kind of relation to the point you're making, and when it comes to bigger games, we spoke about this on the way here. And David said to me, the question David posed was, who do you drop in that 3 at the minute to bring, say, McCarthy in? And I was thinking, well, right now on form, you're right. You can't really drop any of them because McGregor's been perfect. Turnbull's coming into a game, and Rogic has been sensational as well. So it's difficult, but there is no way. And I think Ange Postecoglou himself will realise the fact when we play Rangers, when we play maybe even Alkmaar, and when we play teams in the European group stages, he'll need to bring a McCarthy in. He'll need to drop one of the 3. Most likely, it's going to be Tom Rogic, but we're going to have to drop. It could be Turnbull. We have to drop one a day 3. We need to bring in a McCarthy. We need somebody who sits there in front of that back line. And he'll do that because he's not going to do this for the sake of sacrificing results. He's doing it right now because he knows it's teams we can score against. He knows it's teams we can beat. But then
for as long as the defence is not as good as it should be, he's just going to attack, surely.
But then at the same time, he's watched his team concede 2 cheap goals at the weekend, and he realised.
But they're going to concede cheap goals.
But do you think that he'll head to Ibrox knowing that they can, that what Rangers are capable of without playing a McCarthy or a Sorrow, someone that's there?
I don't think he needs to. Because they're going to. There's no point trying to sit and try and play a little bit more cautious when you don't have the players to do that.
Oh, he's got McCarthy there.
Hearts had 30% possession over the course of that game and still scored 2 goals. Right. Now Rangers are going to have a lot more of the ball than that, but Celtic can score goals against Rangers. There's no doubt about that in my mind with the attacking players they've got just now. I think I'm not convinced he's the type that's. He's not like your British manager that's going to go, right, we've got a better team coming up against us, let's chuck a DM in there, let's just be a little bit more regimented. I think he's very much, this is my style, this is my philosophy. The players that do it well.
No, I get that vibe. I get what you're saying.
When's McCarthy going to get his minutes to become fit? Because the Old Firm's not a long time away.
Well, there's only 2 games in between, 3 games in between.
He's not playing the game yet.
Well, I think the big test will come in AZ. I think. You know, I think that'll give a real. I think it'll take a big indication. Maybe not the home leg, because the home leg we've got more chance of scoring. But when we head away from home, depending on what happens at Celtic Park, McCarthy or Sorrow may start. You're forgetting about Sorrow here as well. Sorrow's played.
For good reason.
Sorrow's had minutes. Sorrow's been okay.
He's not good enough to play for Celtic.
That's nonsense. He's more than good enough. He's fine.
You can't get on the Stephen Welsh bandwagon. Stephen Welsh has been better than Sorrow this season.
Yeah, both of them have been fine.
Stephen Welsh has been better than Sorrow.
None of them have been awful, but I think
the point I'm making is, right, if you're going to play McCarthy away to AZ, having not played a game for God knows how long, is that not just mental?
Well, he had minutes at the weekend. He looked good.
12 minutes at the weekend.
And he looked good in them. And he's going to get more minutes against AZ this week, probably. He's going to get more minutes against St Mirren at the weekend. He's going to get more minutes against AZ. If you're telling me that a professional of 10, 15 years
that's not had much of a pre-season at all,
but isn't going to be ready after getting all these minutes, it'll probably rack up.
It won't rack up to 90 minutes before the Rangers game.
Watch him just throw Sorrow in.
I think there is more chance of him doing that because Sorrow is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. One of the two. I'm not saying it has to be McCarthy, but as long as it's one of the two, I do think Postecoglou will drop one of those attacking players to bring somebody in.
What I was going to say is, I'm so glad that we are in that hot seat, you know, in the seat of like an Ange Postecoglou or a Steven Gerrard, because going into these huge games, it's like, what do you do? And it's so exciting getting into it, and I'm sure we'll obviously get into the Old Firm breakdown next week, but it's big decisions because it could be a case, obviously, just to touch on what you guys are talking about there, Postecoglou might look at it and he might just stick with it, and then it's either going to go one or two ways. Do you know what I mean? He could go with a more attacking minded midfield and it could work and everybody will be ranting raving, or he could go with a more attacking midfield and it couldn't work, and then he'll get slaughtered for it.
Exactly.
So I'm just glad we're sitting here and we're not making the big decisions. But at the end of the day, they're getting $2.5 million to make the decisions.
I know.
Prefer to be there.
That midfield 3 and front 3 of Celtic, that's going to make Rangers think, right, well, we need to be.
That's why I think it's so exciting as well, because it's what do Rangers do in this situation? Do they go toe to toe with Celtic because they know they're maybe a wee bit vulnerable at the back, or do they sit back like they did a wee bit more last season and try and hit them in the counter attack? I just think see the way Hearts did it at the weekend, Nielsen's tactics in the first half, I don't think you can do that against Celtic. You know what I mean? Like I was very much saying a couple of weeks ago on Kyogo, I was like, give him a few big games and then judge him. After seeing him in the second half alone against Hearts, I already think he's a top player.
He's just got 20, 25, 30 goals this season.
Aye. So I don't think you can sit off. I don't think you can sit off players like that and teams like that. Personally, I think you need to go toe to toe.
No, I agree. But I think if you look at the two managers, I think it's more in Steven Gerrard's makeup to be a bit more disciplined in the team formation than it is for Postecoglou. I think Postecoglou is more inclined to go, this is how we play, they can try and stop us.
That's so interesting.
It might be silly having that arrogance and confidence because you might get done. But I just think with the way they're playing just now, the vein of form they're in, to go from a team that's fit and firing and scoring loads of goals, I think you just keep doing that.
Yeah,
but somebody can stop you.
I understand that, and I actually agree with you quite a bit. But at the same time, what you've got to realise and what you've got to balance up is Celtic haven't beat Rangers since November 2019. Like this is, or was it 2020? Sorry, no 2019 Cup final, Betfred Cup. Celtic haven't beaten Rangers in that long. Now it's all very well and good, and that, like, I know that Ange has nothing to do with that. He was never nowhere near the club, but at the same time, for the club, it is massive that we go and win this game. It's embarrassing how long it's been since we beat Rangers.
How do you think they're going to win the game though? I think it's by attacking.
Yeah, I know, but
I agree.
It could be, but
obviously don't want that to happen.
And I also think if
it could just be one of the ones at end to end, and that'd be great.
That would
just
be.
To watch.
It would be.
But my heart like beating out my fucking cheeks.
Gerrard can do a couple of things where he can go. We've seen it. He does it with the midfield 3 a lot, where he'll go right. He might chuck Hadji in the midfield 3 if he's playing a more attacking game. Say he's playing somebody that's going to score, he might put Hadji in midfield. Whereas
that's why I mentioned.
I think if Celtic played that 3 and that front 3, he's definitely going Davis, Kamara, and I don't know, Arfield, Lundstrom maybe. Someone with a bit more bite, a bit more defensiveness, a bit more tenacity. I think Gerrard would be more inclined to do that. And then you also see it with the front 3 Rangers. They can change. They might play a Rebo in the front 3, which is slightly more defensive than maybe playing Roof, Morelos and Kent, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So again,
it's
going to be fascinating.
To be fair.
And the fact that Gerrard's even going to have this thought in his head shows where Celtic have come from in such a short space of time, because last year Rangers would just do what they do and Celtic could not stop them.
I mean, Rangers pretty much just showed up to how the last Old Firm there 4-1. They just kind of showed up to that. Do you know what I mean? And it was kind of no game's ever a foregone conclusion, but I think we all thought Rangers were just going to kind of show up and win that game. Do you know what I mean?
I don't really
Whereas
remember,
now it's not like that.
I don't remember an Old Firm game last season where I thought Rangers was sensational.
No, still I think probably the last game was how the best that Rangers were. Like that probably goes back to the makeup of the manager.
Was that the one with the red card?
We
beat on the red card.
No,
that was a January game. That was a draw.
That does probably go back to the makeup then, because see if you look at the first Old Firm of the season, Rangers went up 2-0, and then they just sat back, and it was more of a European performance, just past the ball.
Boring,
it was just dead boring.
It's
professional.
They are so much more disciplined than that in the locker.
Right, I'm getting weary that we had too much into the derby. We've still got a couple of weeks.
See, just pull it back then to Celtic then in the tactics. I found I seen a lot of Taylor in the midfield at the weekend, and obviously that is something that's been getting highlighted a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like a Callum McGregor falling into the left back position and Taylor going in and kind of taking the ball. How is that for you as a fan looking at that? Do you think that does that excite you? Why is he doing that? Why is Ange doing that as well?
I'm excited about. Well, it's just the way the modern fullback, isn't it? Guardiola, I've said this point a couple of times, but Guardiola, it was especially evident at Bayern Munich, but he had Kimmich, he had Alaba right back, left back, and now look at them, both of them are established centre midfielders as well, because of how they played. Does it Man City as well? You see how Walker gets very narrow, and whoever he has on the left, changes every week. You know, they can do it. They can go in the middle and such. I really like it. It excites me, and I'm a big fan of it. But on that note, the board need to back them and sign the proper players to do it.
Aye.
Greg Taylor and Anthony Ralston, yes, they've played well the last few games, but you need players who are natural inverted wing backs. You need players who are going to be better than them. Taylor and Ralston are not good enough to last over the course of 38 games. I don't think to challenge for the league title. No, I don't think so. I mean, hats off to them. They've been great recently, but I do love it. I love seeing this kind of modern approach, and it's something different.
It's so attacking in it, because if it allows potentially Callum McGregor to get in the ball in the left back position, and maybe it's only one pass through. He's obviously got a better eye to a pass than Greg Taylor.
Aye.
And on the other hand, it could maybe be a con defensively if a Greg Taylor or such gets caught in the ball. And then they try and hit you in the mic, like doing that side. Do you know
the big difference with Taylor, and this is why we need another left back, is because the things that Taylor does in this role for Ange, it takes him, say, like 3-4 movements to do it, whereas another player, a quality player, would do it in one movement, 2 movement. I think Taylor just gets himself a little bit fumbled and caught up. He's a very very traditional left back, I feel, Taylor.
See, but just you mentioned there about getting in natural inverted fullbacks. How many of them are there in the world?
Oh, it's not tons, I know.
So no matter who you could get in a quality left back, it will take him a few weeks, a few months to start doing.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, Taylor's been doing this
Depends
now since...
how good he is.
When did Ange come in?
Ange came in and well, it's
July.
So Taylor's been doing this every week since then. And you're now slowly starting to see that he can
see, the thing is, it's going to be Taylor though, because we're not getting linked to a left back, so it is going to be Taylor.
I don't think left back's as much of a priority as right back is.
But hopefully Juranovic comes in and then bang.
That would be an unbelievable signing if they could get him in. He looks like a really quality player. Boom. But again, no matter who you get in, it's going to take a little bit of time for them to adapt to that system. Here's the other fascinating thing, and it's the last point about the Old Firm game, because when that comes around, you're talking about inverted fullbacks and stuff, and how good that is for Celtic going forward. The one way Rangers
up the wings.
Width. The fullbacks will sit so high and wide. They'll bomb down the wings. It's going to be just such an interesting dynamic.
See,
I'm excited.
On Hearts then.
On Hearts.
The boy in the midfield in the second half I thought was really good again.
Benigni.
It was on Everton's.
I thought that Janelli looked alright as well.
I thought that was a good call for Nielsen bringing him on, but I think Hearts fans will be frustrated that wasn't the move for the beginning. I think they were way too passive, and Celtic absolutely just slaughtered them. Me personally, I'd have put Andy Hard into the midfield. I know he was having a tough game, but I think he's a better player than Heron. It was in the midfield. Aye, they took him off me. I'd have put him into the midfield personally.
I'm raging. I missed it. I was doing it to get my chips and curry and my Fanta when he got took off. I missed the big cheer, coming off Andy Halliday. Hey, I missed it. It
was mere. I know he wasn't having a great game against Ralston and that, but me personally, I'd still put him into the midfield. I think he's better than Heron, and then brought Janelli on, but it's just one of the things. I think he picked up a knock and all, didn't he?
There's a camera away.
On you.
Interesting. Hearts, what a disaster for them. Mental how...
The wee man in the midfield, but I'm going to make an interesting hot take. I think Rangers should sign him.
You want him as next Glenn Kamara, don't
Yes.
you? But he's on the loan at Hearts, so that's going to be from Everton. I think. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. The thing about Hearts for me is, and I said it after they beat Celtic, I didn't think they were that great that night, if I'm honest. I thought they beat them. I think a lot of Hearts fans actually agreed with that. I don't think they thought they were that good.
They were awful.
And they were pissed, dreadful. And they were dreadful at the weekend. But Robbie Nielsen's just not a very good manager, so we'll leave it there.
Nice.
I think it was good of him bringing on Ginnelli, to be fair. I thought that was a good tactical movement, and it meant that they won the second half, didn't they? They won 2-1 the second half. So
right, talking about 2-1s,
I'll get them a lot of points.
Talking about 2-1s, let's move on to 2-1 because the best team in Fife won 2-1 at the weekend.
Celtic won 2-1 at the weekend.
Raith Rovers 2, Aberdeen 1. This the kind of shock of the round. I mean,
Derek McInnes is pissing himself, by the way.
Is he?
Oh, of course he is. They wanted him gone because he didn't do enough in the cups. See you later, Stephen Glass.
Yep. So I mean, Aberdeen, who have been doing quite well recently. I think there's been a lot of ranting and raving about them and Stephen Glass's start to life up in Pittodrie. Only for them to lose to Raith Rovers. I was watching John McGlynn last night on the TV. He was buzzing. He was chuffed. He was talking about Raith being able to challenge these bigger boys, the teams in the top flight. Of course, big ask of them to go to Celtic Park next and do something, but that is a tremendous... From 1-0 down as well, to go and win the game 2-1. Dario Zanata with the winner. I mean, David, you must have been loving that when you seen it.
I just don't care, mate. I'm numb to it. Our next two games are Raith and Arbroath. Arbroath took St John's 100 and took them to penalties. Raith just put Aberdeen at the cup and we are getting...
You just get scalped.
Back to back. Everywhere we go. Genuinely getting battered everywhere we go. No, fair play to Rovers. Fantastic result for them. I was a bit worried for Rovers this season because they were so good last year. And then they lost Regan Hendry. They lost... Who else did they lose? Kai Kennedy, Dan Armstrong. There was a few. They lost a fair few boys who were fantastic for them last season, and I didn't know if they could do it again. Tell you what, I will, and there's one player I want to give a specific shout out to because he's been fantastic since he came in, and it amazes me, Christoph Berra, who was seemingly done even at championship level at Hearts and has been brilliant for Rovers. Zanata, who is always a player that's had potential but never really done it. Thistle, but what a good goal for him. What a moment for him as well. I think he said it's a moment of his career so far. But yeah, they will go to Celtic Park. And listen, what I will say is John McGlynn is a wily old fox, and he'll try and come up with something to stop Celtic, but he won't be able to do it.
I love the celebrations for Raith Rovers. See when they won, they all just started running towards the stands, and then one of the players just kicked the ball full pelt right in.
Imagine you got scalped with that.
I know.
That'd be so. I remember
swearing it as a whirlwind all week. Like,
just as a side note, because I love doing these in podcasts where you just talk about it. I remember I was at a game back in 2012, and it was Celtic Park, obviously, and Charlie Mulgrew was like hitting free kicks before the game, training, big Chico, and he absolutely murdered this wee lassie. Like, she was about 7-year-old, scalped her. She was like
with the ball.
Aye.
Did she go and say sorry?
3 rows in front. He came climbing up the stairs and like, Aggie gave her like his jacket or his training jacket. She was screaming, man. I thought it was a broken neck, man. It was so. I'm standing there. Oh my god! I'm sure it was Chico. I'm sure it was.
Is that
when
they started putting the nets up for the warm up?
It probably would have been, but no. On that note, Aberdeen, they'll be really disappointed. They'll be really disappointed.
Well, Glass tried to do a similar approach as the Livingston game, didn't he? Get away with it in the Livy game. He rested a lot of players, but this one he didn't.
Yeah.
Although still, that can't be an excuse because the starting 11 should have still been good enough to go out there and perform. After the Jets goal, what a fucking goal for the Jet.
Wonderful goal,
yes.
Great strike.
And they still had top players in that part.
What a camera angle for that too as well.
Oh, it was
great.
But
he should never have put that starting 11. I'm sorry, I don't care that we got Europe this week. His biggest thing as Aberdeen manager, he has to win a trophy, and he has to do it soon, because that is the biggest thing that pissed off Aberdeen fans about Derek McInnes was they were doing alright in the cups, but they were never going a long way. He's not even fucking made a fist of this one. Yeah. There's going to be so much pressure.
Do you think there could be an excuse? Do you think he can excuse it though? Because
of Europe,
because of Europe and he's first.
But they've started well. I mean, I don't know. What can they not play 2 games in a week?
No, obviously they should be able to.
Who would you say should have started in the game? Scott Brown.
Scott Brown should have started.
3 games in a week.
But he did.
Brown can do it.
Who have they got in the league next year? I mean, what is more damaging for Stephen Glass? Is it losing yesterday again, or whenever it was against Raith Rovers, or is it losing next week in the league? Yeah. It's losing against Raith Rovers.
Also, what's more profitable for the club and what's the objectives? Going into the Euro, what do you call it?
Brown could have played against Rovers and he could have played midweek and then not played the following Saturday. You could have rested the next week in the league.
But the game's on Thursday, is it not?
I know. So he could have played Sunday, Thursday. Easy. That's enough gap, and then get rested the following weekend.
I don't know,
because if you get beaten the league next weekend, we're not talking about that. Maybe he's just looked at it. It worked against Livy, so he's tried that again, and now he's came back. It's a big gamble, but listen, if they've been exceptional in Europe, so if they go and they get to the group stages of the Conference League, I don't think the Aberdeen fans will be too fussed about the League Cup. Financially for the club as well, they'll be fucking buzzing off if they I'd
like to hear an Aberdeen fan in the comments. Let us know how disappointing is it heading out this cup.
Just think we'll still be talking about this result. People will still be talking about this in a good few weeks' time. Whereas a one-off league defeat, I'm not sure anyone cares about after a week. But this is, considering everything we heard about Derek McInnes and what Glass had to do to go out the cup this easily, I think is a bit of a disaster for him.
Another team that I think will be disappointed to go out the cup. We'll try and fly through the rest of the games. Dundee 1, Motherwell 0. Motherwell out the cup 2. I mean, I know these are two Premiership sides, but I think if you're a Motherwell fan after looking at successes in previous years, you'd be disappointed to head out to a newly promoted Dundee side.
They're in a tough spot.
They're in a very tough spot. They are.
They were missing Kevin Van Veen, missed at the weekend. He started okay. I was impressed with him against Hibs on the opening day. There was a wee bit. Did anyone see that there was a wee bit of trouble in the away end? I think with some steward and I think someone was arrested.
Was it Gogsy? Gogsy been?
I don't know. Gogsy was
somebody hit a steward or something.
But I don't think that was I think that was
actually what happened.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually what happened. But anyway, good result for Dundee, and it's one of those where you play. I always hate cup draws where you play someone from your own league. Obviously, at this stage of the tournament, it's kind of inevitable. But as a marker for them in the league as well, it's going to be a nice wee thing, because I think they're going to be two teams that will be down near the bottom this year.
I'm back Motherwell.
Are you back? No, I was about to say the opposite. I'm not. The more I go, the more I'm just fearing.
I think overall they've had a decent start. I know it's obviously getting out the cup is a disaster, but they were brilliant against Hibs. They get beat the second game, didn't they? So now after going out the cup, it does look worse than what it was
as well.
What's that?
They got beat against. They were good against Hibs, but they still got beat.
Yeah, they did. I know that, but it just going off of what people were saying in the pre-season, going at it, you would have thought that fucking Motherwell were already done the division.
The Betfred Cup was a bit of a disaster as well. The group stages, I don't know, it's like something that.
What's the Betfred Cup?
I know.
Did I tell you when I did a post match with Peter Grant after the game in the Premier Sports Cup? First fucking question, Peter Grant. I didn't say that. I said Peter. I didn't say to him. I was like, Peter, great opening win in the Betfred Cup group stages. Fucking Betfred Cup.
You tell me that. I remember that.
My head
it's difficult when you've been, because it's been the Betfred Cup now. Well, it was the Betfred Cup for quite a while. I think it was 2016 right up until 2021.
Since the group stages. So this is going to be the thing. You know how like
it's the CIS Cup, boys.
Well, I used to always think about the CIS up until the Betfred Cup. But remember down south, what's your League Cup down south? What's the first thing comes to your head? League
Carling Cup.
Carling Cup.
It
still comes to my head. That's what this is going to be like.
It's the same as like it happens everywhere.
Barclays Premier League.
The Barclays Premier League.
Tenant Scottish Cup as well.
Tenant Scottish Cup, Christ, what age are you?
I still think that Tenant Scottish.
What was it? I must admit, I do think it was the William Hill Scottish Cup. I do. I think it is William Hill. Probably because we won it 4 times in the bounce as the William Hill Scottish Cup. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that, Dave?
No, mate. I just blocked things out of my memory.
They weren't there for half the finals. I
know, so it doesn't count.
Right.
Aberdeen were there. Most of them.
I know, that's right. Ayr and Dundee.
Your mic is always in the red. Are you aware of this?
Mate, I'm a loudspeaker. What can I say?
Doesn't help when you're like this the whole time.
Do you know what I get? Fearsome of being too far. Like that's too quiet.
It's better being close.
There is a happy medium though.
There's like dulcet tones.
You're enjoying it way too much. I think though, being that close to that kind of object.
I want to nip it.
Don't you know say that?
Some nip.
Right. Let's go to Ayr, who went out on penalties to Dundee United.
But before we even talk about the game, what a fucking ready that is from the United fans.
What?
You don't see this?
They invaded the pitch.
Invaded the pitch.
Oh, they did not.
After beating a championship team on penalties.
Yeah,
every single one of them need to have a word with themselves. I stuck up for the Aberdeen fans at Livy because that's understandable. That is not understandable. Have a fucking word.
Did they actually run in the park?
They actually ran in the park.
It was a bigger effort as well, was it not, than the Aberdeen fans?
It wasn't like they just ran onto the corner. They ran onto the park.
It was like a promotion kind of one, wasn't it?
Oh my Christ, have a word, man.
Who scored the winning penalty, do you remember? For Dundee United? Just had him aloft.
I don't know, who was it?
But they just won the league.
The game, you'll see.
Does it show you who scored the penalties?
I don't know.
I don't think it does.
But it wasn't Shankland anyway.
I have to say, wee Lawrence is away. I have to say, I'm amazed that United managed to take Dundee United 120 minutes because they're just honking. Yeah, that's all I have to say on
I
that.
don't think there is too much to say about that game, to be honest, is there?
Yeah, I mean, Dun United to get through is obviously good. There was quarter-finals next, isn't it? So you're a game from Hampden now.
Yep.
And after the big win against Rangers, it's been a good couple of weeks for Tam Courts, who's been very much maligned by the Dun United fans. But if he can keep pulling out results, then he'll be happy, and so will they.
Hibs went through. They beat Kelly 2-0.
Kevin Nisbet show, baby.
Kevin Nisbet, yes.
Goal and assist for the big man.
That's right. On that note, I managed to see some bits and bobs from that game before I headed to Celtic Park. And Kelly didn't look bad at points.
I think they were very good first half. They had a couple of chances. I think Liam Polworth had an effort that was maybe all over the line. I think there was a bit of a dispute about that. But no, Kelly gave a good account of themselves. Very well organised, apparently, which is fantastic for me because Kelly are probably going to win the league now, which is great. Look at me, I've given up in the league after 2 games. I'm embarrassing.
I'm still batting Inverness.
Yeah, but no, and then Hibs get his job done. We mentioned with Stephen Glass how important it was for him in a cup. Had Jack Ross gone out at the weekend, you're talking about an even bigger uproar than what Aberdeen are facing, because after the cup failures at the crucial points last year, there is a lot of pressure on Jack Ross to
Can I just throw in something very quickly? There's been a couple of times I've been on my phone. I don't want told off for it again. I'm looking for a quiz. I've got a quiz sorted now, but I wanted to just... It's something different. It's a different sort of quiz today, by the way.
I like to check my phone through this as well, because the amount of times we've done shows and as we've been doing it, stuff is broken, or after we've done it, stuff is broken. What was the one? I remember when we used to them in college, right back at the start, there was one massive story that broke just as we were walking out. But yeah, it is really annoying when that happens.
But it's sure Derek McInnes gets sacked right after we filmed a show once as well.
There was so many people have been sacked, so many people have been sold or whatever right after we finished shows.
The best one though was when he said that Eddie Howe had signed as a manager of Celtic. That was. Can you put a clip of that in, Ryan?
No,
got that in your locker,
Eddie Howe,
that was brilliant, man.
You don't
sing
need to
about
talk
him like every night in the flat. Sing the Bella Chows.
You'll be happy now. You get a better
No,
option.
I'm bottle here.
Fucking right, he did.
Get it right up, Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe's a shite bag, man. I had the same opinion of Derek McInnes when he didn't do Rangers.
He's bottled it. He's absolutely bottled it.
Somebody said it the other day. I think it's a good point. He might still end up Celtic manager at some point.
Maybe.
It was me.
Yeah, you could see it. You can see it happening.
Somebody said it to me, and then I think I said it to you.
I don't think you'd swap hands for Eddie Howe now. Absolutely
not.
No.
But no, right. Let's get back to basics here. Hibs through.
Kevin Nisbet. Fantastic.
I just can't believe Celtic. They don't really need to now, I think, because it looks as though Edouard's going to stay. And it looks as though Kyogo is going to be the best player in the country. So maybe we don't need...
Calm yourself down.
We don't need
Tom Rogic wants to talk.
Nisbet maybe isn't needed as much now.
Enough of the fucking slander here, boys, man.
It's not slander. I've always loved Tom Rogic.
He's a mad Tom Rogic.
So I talk about the 2 best players in the
country. We didn't even talk about it.
Tom Rogic and Kyogo.
No,
Kyogo.
Tom Rogic and Stephen Davis are 2 best players.
Look at it here. It's either Kyogo or Vasilis Barkas. It's one of the 2.
Tom Rogic lets you play some stuff. Anyway, can we talk about the actual best player in the country now? Kevin Nisbet. We're not far away from
it. We're going to see Martin Boyle.
We need to do a Scotland squad video soon.
Oh, really?
That's right.
We're not far away.
It's after the derby, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the last league game, then we go international break. And it's
Xander Clark, number 1.
A fascinating squad selection.
Spoiler alert.
John McLaughlin, number 1.
All right then.
It won't be. It'll be Craig Gordon, but I would have.
What is Davy done?
If he's third choice at Derby, he's not got a chance.
Wayne Rooney, Stoughton.
Will Marshy still go get the pick from Clark? Probably.
Third is it? Aye, probably.
If we're honest,
he can do
it's
no
going to be
wrong in
Marshy,
his
Gordon
eyes.
and McLaughlin, isn't it? Really?
Right.
But yeah, Nisbet, goal and assist, very good. Hitting form at the right time ahead of the international break, which is good.
Yes.
A lot of players are starting to hit a little bit of form just now, which is really exciting. But yeah, good result for Hibs. Well done to them getting through.
Out with them getting pumped off Rajekia after getting a man sent off. They've probably had the best start of the season.
They've been pretty faultless.
They've been just so comfortable. That's where it is.
See, Aberdeen have made a wee bid for Boyle.
Yep. So this is a really interesting one. I wanted to come on to this. Broke last night.
Do you not know this?
No, mate. I've not been on to it.
News broke really late last night. Scott Burns, who's doing his best to try and become Scotland's Fabrizio Romano, it's not really working though.
Although that's a good.
I thought that was Tom English.
No, Tom English doesn't break the transfer rumours like Scott Burns does these days. Yeah, he broke the news last night. 500,000 bid for Martin Boyle from Aberdeen. But the interesting thing about that was I read this morning, I think there is a release clause in his contract for 500 grand, but it has to be from teams out with the league.
Right.
Now, I also think he's into the final year of his contract as well.
Yes.
But Aberdeen know fine well Hibs are not accepting a bid of 500 grand for Martin Boyle, who is probably their best player, I think, just now.
Yeah. I was going to say what they're bidding for his fucking left toe.
But he's in the final year of his contract, though.
I know, that's a
so
factor.
this is the interesting thing. And I'm also...
Is it to unnerve them, maybe?
maybe potentially. I also think he's from that neck of the woods as well.
Oh, he has. He had his accent atrocious.
Anyway,
the Australian.
The final point.
Aberdeen Australian.
What was I going to say there? Aberdeen need a winger desperately because obviously Hayes and McGinn are getting old. I think Kennedy's away.
Johnny.
He's never been there. To be fair,
they're kind of needing a winger, so he would be a fantastic signing for Aberdeen. And whether or not this bid can unearth him will be interesting to see.
If Aberdeen go and sign Martin Boyle, fair play, man.
I mean that secures third for me. I think.
Aye.
Just taking him away from
secures the league title.
And
probably at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, how good is Johnny Hayes? But
we'll have to see how that plays
out. Goni.
What? I mean, there's another shout for best in the country.
Aye.
Do you know what I started doing last night?
Best in the country at what though?
Just shoe collecting.
Collector of shoes. Yes.
Do you know what I done last night? I have started. I want to relive
Johnny Hayes, sponsored by Glasgow Soar.
I want to relive my youth. I started collecting the Premier League cards.
Nice.
Just for myself,
geek, man. Honestly,
just before lockdown, I started fucking.
That's right. Aye. So you did.
Fucking I was raging though. Found that there's all these different intricacies that you can get into, right? Mm-hmm. And geeky, we'll not get into that, but anyway, the cards can get graded. Yep. I seen a Messi one, like a rookie card. They were going for about £100 at the time. Aye. I was going to buy 2 or 3 of them, and then fucking COVID hits, so I'm like, I'm not spending that money on cards. Aye. When we just came out of COVID, each of them were going for £1,300.
Oh, devastated. I hate
£1,300, mate.
I hate hearing stuff like that.
I know. I was devastated. I always sleep on the big kings. Fucking AMC as well in the stock market. But anyway, let's go. Let's continue.
The final game.
I've got more transfer gossip.
Oh, we could have waited till after the games, to be fair. But
sorry, I didn't go there.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go for it.
Right, we'll do that at the end. In the final game, Arbroath and St Johnstone, you alluded to it earlier, took them 120 minutes.
Fair play to Arbroath, some shift they put
Dick
in there.
Campbell.
St Johnstone were very lucky.
Big Dick, man.
Very, very lucky. Our pal Tam scored in the next time. Yep. Good old Thomas O'Brien. Yeah, Big Dick, what a fella.
That's the first blooper of the year.
That's the first blooper of the year. But who was it? Jason Kerr missed a penalty in normal time, and he missed in the shootout. He needs to stop taking penalties. And also his penalty against Galatasaray was very close to being saved as well.
He literally kicked the ball into the ground in the penalty against Galatasaray.
Which, if he meant it, is fantastic.
He scored. Fuck it, he scored the big one. So that's all that
matters. But they got through, and that's all that matters. It was very, very close to the cup. Yeah. The experts getting done at the first hurdle, or pretty much, which would have been interesting to see.
See if they did go out, there would be a big question mark over St Johnstone at the moment, wouldn't there?
No. Yeah, there'd be a massive. There would be a massive question mark hanging over Callum Davidson's future at the club.
No, not in that sense. I probably exaggerated.
You know who we're talking about here? We're talking about St Johnstone.
No. It sounded ridiculous what I said, but it's just it's quite a. I mean, apart from the takeaway Galatasaray, they were brilliant.
I know what you're saying, maybe getting into a rut.
But you know, the first few domestic games, they haven't looked great. You know, is there the kind of does the question start being asked of second season syndrome? Is what I don't mean like Callum Davidson's going to be suddenly sacked and hung banished, from the fucking
banished. Their aim every season is survival.
Yeah, no,
followed by top 6 if we can do it.
No, but I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, and they should be judged for it. I'm just saying, would there be questions of here comes second season syndrome?
Again, I think that some of the players have got their eyes on Europe. Like, I think it's a big factor for some of these players. Do you know what I mean?
The second season syndrome was a bit harsh because your eyes on it. They've been for 10 years.
I watched them against Galatasaray and they were right in that game until they got the second.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to remember how good Galatasaray are.
Massive respect.
I do agree. I don't think that they'll no fucking hit the heights. That's going to be the most ridiculous thing ever.
I know.
But maybe they will fall away a wee bit.
If St Johnstone finish 8th in the league and still do anything in the cups, it's a good season for St Johnstone. A club that size who've done it for this long, fair play to them. And
they managed to push through it, and also credit.
Yeah, exactly. And they won.
Do you know what annoys me?
They got through.
Do you know what annoys me?
They're still there.
Do you know what annoys me about clubs like St Johnstone, right? What a turnout they had on Thursday. We'll never see that again.
Yeah, the problem is that you've got busloads from. There would have been more Rangers fans. More Rangers fans would have probably travelled from Dunfermline to support Rangers on Friday night than Dunfermline fans did.
Good show.
That is the bad thing. I support Rangers.
I've seen you.
It's quite funny though when all the fans are saying we support our local team, and I'm like, we do.
I mean, where do you go with this then, night? And just quickly get your opinion, right? There's two big things here. Do you support your local team or do you support your fucking dad's team?
You support your dad's team.
But there are a whole there is so many
so
kids who don't have a team.
You need to get on ancestry.co.uk and find the fucking traitor bastard that chose to change
You're never
allegiance.
ever going to fundamentally change it, but there are things that teams like St Johnstone that can do. St Mirren are doing it really well. You get the players into their schools. You do all the
Calm down, Griffiths.
You do all the that's very poor. You do all the. I can't. We've dropped the standards of this podcast.
No. You're right.
You do all that sort of stuff
in the community.
You get you fucking Dunfermline used to do under 12s free season tickets.
We talk about traitors.
Stop doing it now.
St Johnston, if you bought
you for a quid if you
a ticket, you were able to take 2 under 12s for free.
Yeah.
That's madness.
You take them who are kids who could easily go and watch Celtic and Rangers. I've now seen St Johnston play in Europe at the age of 10, and they're going to go to
Celtic
St Johnston.
are doing under, what is it, 16s or a quid for the Europa game?
There's one club that doesn't need to do that. It's Celtic and Rangers. But again, those St Johnston
29 quid.
Those kids have seen maybe their first ever game of football. Have seen St Johnston in Europe. They're going to go back to McDermott Park every week now.
And
that's how you do it.
Blissfully disappointed.
Be blissfully disappointed. I would love to be as disappointed as St Johnston have been over the last 10 years.
We sent Sam to McDermott Park.
Oh yeah, we did.
So we're going to cut a bit of that. If you are an audio listener, maybe just skip.
So is that going in this?
Oh aye.
We'll just skip.
Right, so I have to edit into this.
Aye.
Right, okay.
Aye,
right.
it's easy enough, mate.
drag it.
I don't even have the file.
Right, on we go.
It's in the WhatsApp.
Right, here it goes, Sam.
Today is the turn of St Johnston versus Galatasaray, probably the biggest match in the club's recent history. And yes, they've recently played 2 cup finals and won them both, but today just seems massive. It's going to be a sellout tonight at St Johnston. I'm here with 2 St Johnston fans now, and just look at the atmosphere over there in the Tulloch Institute. It's unbelievable. It's going to be a massive night. Firstly, what do you think of the game today? What are your preconceptions going into it?
I think we did really good to go away to Turkey, obviously.
Yeah.
Come away with a draw. It's not what we expected.
Yeah.
And I think since we'll have the house packed tonight, it'll be just great.
Look at this. This is unreal. What do you think the score will be today?
I'm not going to kid on and pretend I think we're going to win, but
Who knows? With fans like this.
this we've always been a team that struggles in the big games.
Yeah.
But the last season, the team that we've got now has just completely changed that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we managed to get through the night.
Nice.
Fuck knows.
All the best, mate. Enjoy the game. Wow. What an atmosphere. Football is back. St Johnston fans, my new favourites. Honestly, look at this. Oh, you love it. 3-1. To be honest, they do deserve it. They do deserve it, and it's 3-1. Stoppage time, and it's 4-1 now. Despite being 4-1, they're still singing. Yes! It's too late, but they've scored again. Yes! They're having 6 goals. It's unbelievable. And that's all there'll be. It's full time. The Saints fans applaud the team. Fair play. What a journey. What a journey.
Thank you, Sam.
That could be a decent me feature on the podcast.
On that note, but talk about
Out and about. That's what
We talk about the
We'll get
frauds.
somebody out and about every week to do something.
we talk about the frauds in the family, like find out who it is in ancestry. I mean, that's my father. Have I never told you a story?
Oh, he's a Rangers man.
My dad's dad was
He's
a Rangers man.
Yeah.
And my
So we
dad-
don't need to go on Ancestry for your old man.
Nah,
Man.
and he's 16. Guy came into the shop and said, "You want to go to Celtic game with me?" He's like, "I can be as well," and he was hooked. From
He
that
was
day on.
13 and a guy came in at the shop and said, "You want to go to Celtic?"
16. No, like a guy worked with.
Who was the guy?
His pal. Was it just a random? It wasn't like Willy Wonka came in like that. You want this ticket to the game?
It was Brother Wolf.
Equivalent of.
It was Brendan Rodgers, and he came in. He saw
Stevie in his ordinary clothes. He said, "Stevie, as long as you're not here, I'll make you here."
Right, that wraps up everything in the Betfred Cup. There was games all around. Sorry, I keep doing it. I keep doing it. Just as well we'll not got the official podcast of the Premier Sports Cup.
We should be though.
We should be. Give us that position. So there was games around the leagues and such. League 1 and League 2, I believe, were playing. Was there any games in the Championship?
Will we do Davy's shit sandwich again?
Well, no, because I've not brought my butter knife, so that's not happening. The shit sandwich. Well, I mean, listen. No, let's not do that.
The game the shit sandwich basically is where we go to David for his low league stock, Ryan. We did it last week. Because it's a good thing about the games, a shit one and then a good one.
That's honestly, guys, now I've been hungover / working all weekend, so I've not paid much attention to any football as per usual. I'm going through a bit of a crisis just now, but I'm not even sure I like football anymore.
I mean,
before you get on your shit sandwich, we're like the exact opposite. Do you know how buzzing I was for like all the football the weekend, especially to see the Premier League? Tim Pot, right? But Friday night I was sitting there making my second channel video, pick my fantasy team. Mate. I was picking my fantasy team for the Premier League, and I was like, I wish this kicked off the night. And then like I scrolled through like the fantasy thing, and it was like Brentford Arsenal 8 o'clock. I was actually buzzing, so fucking buzzing. I'm just loving football. The Euros especially has just opened my eyes to how much I just love watching football.
Haaland had a
he did
3 assists and 2 goals.
Yep.
Wow.
Dortmund are going to stop the 10. The 10's a myth. I'm telling you, the 10 is a myth. They're going to stop the 10.
Did it last year.
Dortmund have a better squad than Bayern. They do.
No.
Bayern have a better starting 11, but you go to that bench, fucking hell.
Is Haaland better than Lewandowski?
No, I'm saying I think Bayern have got a better 11. He's like that. What's going on?
Wake me up when this is done, please.
Dortmund have got a better squad there. Right, anyway, shit sandwich, go.
Well, I remember when we used to do this podcast right at the start. We put a lot of effort into every league, and it's just died a death.
Well, you're 53 minutes in. That's probably why.
I know, because yeah. Anyway, League One's already very, very tasty.
Yes.
You've got 3 teams at the top on 7 points: Queen's Park, Montrose, and Falkirk. Massive win for Falkirk at the weekend against Airdrie. They were 2-0 up at half time, but they went down to 10 men right on half time. So Airdrie had a full 45 to try and get back into the game. They got one back through Gabby McGill, but it wasn't enough. Obviously, if Sam Wardrop wasn't wrongfully suspended, they would have got the 3 points.
Easy.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So that's it.
I also thought it was in Kelty. I was expecting them to go to Forfar and beat Forfar. They were 2-1 down. They managed to make it. They managed to make it 2-2, so they're joint top as well. Forfar are flying, eh?
It's gonna. I mean, I still can't see anyone stopping Kelty over the course of the season because they are just too good. That squad is phenomenal.
Joey Cardone.
Oh, super
Bieber Jonas as well.
With James Jonas, Hamitamo Ware, you've got fucking Higgy, you've got Nathan Austin, you've got.
It's frightening, isn't it? Their wage bill.
And Nathan Austin back in the team at the weekend with a goal, so once he gets back and gets another run of games, he'll start firing them in.
Yeah, he's good. Do you like Nathan Austin, right?
Don't know.
You talk about a guy who's played it in the championship for Inverness, for Falkirk, scored goals in the championship.
I like Higgy.
Championship.
I like him.
He's good at Thistle.
He was good in FM.
He scored a penalty against Craig Gordon for Kelly.
Was there no talk of him got to Celtic at one point?
No.
Or was he at Celtic?
He was never that good.
I was about to say.
Was he not at Celtic?
I don't know.
His peak was probably that Thistle team that were top 6.
And
That was probably the best of them.
I don't think so.
I'm sure there is, mate.
I really don't think so.
No, I'd be very surprised.
Right. Anyway, did we do Twitter questions or
no? We didn't.
Well, why have we? Where's the effort gone, lads?
I'm too busy. Just
you used to be on top of this.
I'm too committed to the job now. I'm a company man.
He is. Do you know? You should see him. He's working like an absolute animal.
Shifts,
an absolute animal. You're there. You're always there.
And God bless all of me.
God, that's 2 podcasts in a row. I've made that joke. We done it yesterday with McGinley.
That's in Dom Thomas's bio on Twitter.
So, if you could compare everybody on the podcast to how a team started this season, who's who?
I am Dunfermline Athletic. Just miserable and shite. It's funny that, isn't it?
What was that? What was the question?
Like, so if you could compare everybody on the podcast, everybody that's part of TSF, to a team that started this, a team. So he's Dunfermline. He's just mince.
Funny how my team's shite fortunes reflect how I feel as a human being.
Oh wow.
I'll go Celtic Hearts.
Kelty. I think McGinley is.
Are you backing yourself? Can I just say though, before we come on to that, if Dunfermline win on Friday night, I will be once again convinced we're getting promoted. I'm just putting out that's how fickle and idiotic and wrapped around.
I hope it reflects in your attitude. So McGinley would definitely be like the closest thing to like a Celtic. He's rampant. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. You know.
He's absolutely flying. Have you noticed his branding he's doing just now?
Yep.
He is no longer Ryan McGinley. He's
McGinley.
And I like that.
He wants to be the next Fabric.
No, I respect that. And he's got a new logo on Twitter. He's going to be too big for us in no time.
I don't like that.
He's going to ditch you and ditch us.
I gave that boy everything.
He is going to be so much bigger than all of us.
You got to turn that to Jake Paul and want 10% off.
I know.
His earnings.
I'm going to sign an exclusivity contract. Like he can go nowhere but to Celtic Defender and TSF. That's it. What would that be?
What's happened to Callum Craig? I've not seen him.
I've not seen him in ages.
Nobody has.
Is he alright?
See over lockdown, I probably saw Callum every single week. I've not seen him for like over a month now.
He's birded, didn't he?
He is birded now.
Oh, is he birded?
Ditched his pals.
Right.
He's ditched all his pals since he got birded. Arsehole.
Poor. Who else is also Adam? Who is it? Adams.
Adam's another podcast slot though, isn't he? He's doing every show. Jack's been on a couple of times recently. He's back in the fold. Kieran Ald's can't be arsed getting out of his bed, so we'll never see him at this time in the morning.
Jack would be...
and if Kieran Ald's gone out every weekend, he's no use for the next 4 or 5 days. So that's not much use.
He had to forfeit.
He was barely at Celtic Park at the weekend, wasn't he?
Oh, he never spoke a word. Never spoke a word. Sat there. I said, "How you doing?"
A night out breaks him.
Do you know what he chewed? He went through a whole packet of extra. Whole packet.
Sir Alex.
His jaw's not the same, he says.
I'm
a
juicy fruit man myself, so.
What? How's this way?
What, your favourite chingy?
What teams would they be then? They boys.
Kieran would be
Kieran Nall, like hanging on for dear life, right? So who the fuck's that?
He's Dunfermline Athletic.
He's Dunfermline. I don't think you can
showed so much promise.
He was breaking between the years of 2018 and 2021. That's who he was.
A proper downward spiral. There's no recovery.
That is like Kieran's breaking.
Mark Wilson's turned up at his fucking door with a fishing rod.
Jack's got to be a team with. He's got to be a team where there's some shaggers in there. Do you know what I mean?
He is.
He is relentless, boy.
Who is he? Let's be honest. He's flying just now.
Who's a shagger?
I don't know.
Rangers.
But does Jack had a tough result midweek recently? I don't know.
Probably is.
I tell you who does get some tough results midweek. Judging me Twitter, no, the likes, Bud's photos, not that. Be McGinley.
But I tell you what,
he is relentless with
after the last podcast Jack was on, Jack had a great result midweek.
Fuck it. So, very good result.
So he's not Rangers.
Where does this show went?
He's
do you know he was begging me for a gaff on Friday night?
Aye.
Oh, but for Saturday night. Was it Saturday night?
There's the camera away.
The camera away. Very quickly, we've got Jack is Rangers, used in Fairmont, Kieran is Brecon, McGinley is Celtic. Me and you have not got any teams.
The conversation's just growing arms and legs.
Right.
Let's get a quiz in us.
Let's do it then. Let's go. Let's again
cut some shapes.
What was it?
That'll do.
What are you doing? You've got to let the whole thing play
it was
out.
on for too long.
Aye, but you turn it down gradually. Look, listen,
you used to argue too much and it makes me uncomfortable.
Don't like it when mummy and daddy fight.
I don't think we're arguing that much to this. Quite calm.
He just basically says he's pumping you. Mummy and daddy.
For all I'm worth.
For all you're worth.
Which is not very much.
Right. The quiz is different this week. I forgot to, and shout out to Matthew, who I know will be listening. I forgot to ask Matthew for a quiz, and the boy
gets really angry when you don't do
and
that.
The boy messaged me at 4:30 in the morning, so I doubt he's going to be up. So I've not got a quiz by him. So we're going to do something.
Up at 4:30 making a quiz in, alright?
Well, he wasn't. He just messaged me, asked me a question. It wasn't even about the quiz or anything.
You probably something to do with the question.
No, it wasn't. It was
the
just,
quiz.
it was just him just asking a general question.
I'm Hank Marvin. Can we get a shift on?
Right. Okay. This is a bit different. Right. So it's got to be. It might be done quick. It might take forever. Who knows? In the history of Scottish football, there has been 21. I believe 21
questions like this.
There has been 21 teams to have played in European football.
We are a fucker.
Right. So
we're doing that.
So whoever
what does European count as qualifiers?
Yeah.
Anything.
There have been 21 teams to make it to European football. So I'm going to start by flipping a coin, seeing who gets to go first, and you've got to give me a team. Then it'll go to the next person. Give me a team. Then it'll go back to you, and whoever runs out of a team first is the loser, and the other will be the winner. Right.
Okay, let's do
So we'll
this.
see if we can get through all 21. We're all winners.
I'm sure that's
right?
even entirely fair, but hey, we'll
How's
do
it not entirely
We'll
fair?
just do it. Let's just do it. It's about
He's
that.
always gets raging early quizzes.
see, Dev went first, right? And Dev couldn't get one.
Right, we are humming too.
Right, let's see.
John West.
Where have they been?
What is that? That is.
I just like it. You flip it on,
No,
does
he
he?
doesn't like
No, I do not.
Right, hurry up, let's get a shift on.
Right, so anyway, heads or tails, I'm going to give it the
Dev can
option.
go first if he wants.
Oh, you want to go first?
It's up to him. He can do what he wants.
Do you want to go first? Right. You've got the
Um,
advantage by going first.
Aye, I'll go for
Right, okay, 21 teams, on you go.
Rangers.
Okay.
Aberdeen.
Right, okay.
Celtic.
Hibernian.
Hearts.
Right, wait, you got to slow down, just in
How?
case, because if you get it wrong, and the other person has a chance to win
I don't
the
think
fucking
we've got it
game.
wrong yet.
No, you've not. Right, Hearts, okay.
St Johnstone.
Correct.
I've got about fucking 10 left in my head. What are you up to?
I've lost my train of thought, boys.
So we've had Aberdeen,
There's got to be a time limit on this, surely.
we've had Aberdeen, we've had Celtic, we've had Hearts, we've had Hibs,
Inverness.
Inverness, Caledonian Thistle is
Obviously correct.
correct.
Motherwell.
Correct.
Queen of the South.
Correct.
Falkirk.
Correct.
Fuck you, that was my next one. Did I say one? Let me go through these. Ooh. I don't have a lot of storage in my brain to just keep things on the hang with.
He's got to get a shift on here. Come on. How long's he getting?
I'll do what I want.
10, 9, 8,
I'm forgetting who's been said.
7, 6,
Guys, stop back, you're scaring me.
5.
You're scaring me.
3, 2, 1.
Dunfermline.
Correct.
Fair play.
Nah, just keep me in
You
there.
lucky boy.
Keep me
Yeah.
in. Keep tension in it.
Dundee United.
Correct.
Flipped again. It's hard to remember what's been said and see if you say that obviously one that's been said. You're out, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Fucking hell.
10.
9,
8.
7. Don't know. Dundee.
Correct.
Raith Rovers.
Raith Rovers. Correct.
Fucking hell. Many's left, out of curiosity.
So we've got.
You just giving yourself extra thinking time here, you bastard.
Let me just let me make sure. 7. I believe there's 7 teams
7
left.
are left.
7 teams
When
left.
did Europe start?
A long time ago.
Probably back in
50s, 60s.
I don't want to go to 50s and
Was
60s.
Dunfermline with the 60s, so.
Yeah, it was the 50s, I'm sure. 7 teams remain.
7 remain. 7 remain. Have you got some? Have you got some? Have you?
Right. One Dove.
I wish I had paper.
10,
Right, now I
9,
9,
8,
7, 6,
5, 4, 3, 2,
1.
Brecon.
Is wrong. Which means the
Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock is correct. Yay. Well done to Mr. Buick, who wins this week's quiz as Dev runs out of teams with 6 to go. Out of curiosity.
So did you know Dunfermline had been in Europe? Was that just you? That was you desperate?
Aye, because you've fucking spoke about it.
Why did it take you till 1? I thought that was just you. throwing
That was
back.
suspension, that one.
Nah, suspension.
Can I have a fire through who
Yes,
might be left?
go and see if you can get.
So
Go and see
I've got 6 left.
You've got 6 left.
Were Queen's Park ever in Europe?
Queen's Park, we're never in Europe.
See,
that
that's
was
what
too early.
I was fucking
Right.
away back there somewhere.
So then, who else have we got left? Let me think.
There's one that shocked me.
St Mirren.
St Mirren's one, yep.
Who else would have won? Someone else has won the cup recently. Let me just think about this. A team that's been in Europe. So who else in the top flight just now that I've not forgot? That I have forgot about. I did Falkirk already.
There's a couple that shocked me actually.
Ayr United.
Nope.
Airdrie.
Yes, Airdrie. That was a shocker to me.
Airdrie were
No,
top flight
actual.
for years, man.
Aye. Bastard.
I'm struggling a little bit after that.
Right,
to be honest.
well, let me run through them in alphabetical order. And out of the 21, there's Aberdeen, Airdrie, Celtic, Dundee United, Dunfermline, Falkirk, Gretna,
Of course, yeah, wow.
Hearts, Hibs, Inverness, Kelly, Livy. I think you forgot
for
Livy.
fuck me, how did I
Livy,
forget Livy?
I
Motherwell.
didn't think they were in it.
There's another one that shocked me. Morton, Morton have played in Europe. Partick Thistle, another one that was forgot. Queen of the South, Raith Rovers, Rangers, St Johnstone, St Mirren. That was the
did alright. To be fair, that was a good fist.
What would you say is the hardest one out of all of them?
Gretna, probably.
Gretna.
Even though it was quite recent, it completely went from my head.
I would never have got Airdrie, and I would never have got Morton. Those two I would never have got.
The Queen of the South one just sticks out to me because
you played them.
We played them, aye.
Falkirk sticks out for me because they got Europe because they beat us in the semi. Dunfermline obviously for me was easy. Raith Rovers because they were beating Bayern Munich for a while before they got done in the end. But yeah, I think we made a decent fist of that.
Decent,
That's alright.
Decent. I think so. He's got, if there was 6 left, he's got what, 15?
Yeah.
So not bad. 15 out of 21.
I think if I had time to sit with a bit of paper and think,
I'd get probably 21.
Yep.
Nah, I wouldn't have got.
I like this. So, a guy, shout out to Alistair. I don't know if he watches this show. He watches the Celtic Defender. He gave me an idea for a tiebreaker. Instead of just asking a normal question for a tiebreaker, I say, okay, how many players can you name that started against Barcelona the night we beat them 2-1? And you go, I can name 8. Or I can name 9. So we start.
TV show. Can I do how many I could name? I'm interested in how many I'd get. So,
but Barcelona, you talk about that game?
Yeah. So Fraser Forster was in goal.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Miku played up front.
Yes, he did.
Samaras played.
Yep.
Adam Matthews.
Yep.
I think Mikael Lustig played as well. I think Matthews played right midfield if I'm not mistaken. Kelvin Wilson, F.A. Ambrose.
How the fuck did
Kyle.
they win? How did they win?
I know Brown didn't play. I don't think Commons played either.
Commons didn't play either.
So Mulgrew played. Who else would have played?
Wanyama,
of course.
Are you allowed to say Tony what?
No, because he came off the bench.
Alright, off the bench.
So that might be almost it. I remember Miku played up front and Samaras captained them, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
That's a mad starting 11 to
because
beat.
Brown was missing, Hooper
Probably
was
the best
missing,
team ever.
Stokes was missing. Yeah, it is mental how many they missed.
How we won that night? I will never.
There is
Neil
a big
Lennon
answer.
masterclass.
Fraser Forster was
Fraser
a big
Forster's a big factor.
Right,
Yeah.
that's us anyway. We're at the end of the show. An hour and 10 minutes is coming up for not
bad.
I enjoyed that.
lads.
I enjoyed
I
that.
should.
I was shocking in the last show. I said it to him. I was dreadful.
He was raging. He came in.
I
Man,
was
shocking.
absolutely pish. I was a bit better today, so I'm happy with that.
Aye.
The form's going up.
Yeah.
It was merely a chilled one the day I thought.
It was just
Good
having
one.
the boys back, you know.
Boys are back in town.
We don't have to carry anyone this week, so that's good. Recently, we've always had to carry someone through, so
Yeah.
Who's that aimed at?
It was him last
the
week.
rest of them, you know, it was me last week.
Sorry,
Yeah, I'm just a host with a
Jack
most.
made that show last week. If it wasn't for him being half pitched, I think we would have really struggled.
Nice. Right, well, that's us. Dev, thanks very much.
I got a tailing off for that, slapping the table, but
I
you
know.
didn't do it.
Sorry. David, thanks very much.
It's alright, mate.
It's always a pleasure. If you have been watching it on YouTube, make sure to hit like.
Thanks for 5k.
And thanks for 5k. I've never mentioned that. Aye. Thanks for
Celebrate.
5K.
I also never mentioned about transfer news I had, but it's now too late in the day now, so.
That's it. But just out of curiosity, what was it?
It was, well, a lot of House fans think they're getting Jamie McLaren back, but I don't think I think it's happening. Apparently they're getting James Scott. Mind time it was at Motherwell, went down south to Hull. Apparently he's coming on loan to Hibs.
Right, well, if you are on YouTube, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It is much appreciated. If you're listening on Spotify, please make sure to follow the show and share out the show to get more listeners.
Last bit. What's a word we can tell them to put in the comments?
Oh,
They've
yeah.
watched the full show.
So last week was Justice for
Let's
Sam.
let Ryan do it. Last week was Justice for Sam. Have you got one? Any random word, mate?
Or phrase.
Why are we asking him, actually? Right, go, quickly.
Hashtag something.
Hashtag back Barkas.
Alright.
There we go.
See you later.
Hashtag back Barkas, right? See you later. Goodbye.